So, what I'm about to say may come as a shock to some, and in fact, may upset some of you because it's different from what you've been taught. But I think we all need to understand this. You do not need to go to confession before receiving the Eucharist. But it's not just that you don't have to, it may actually be bad Eucharistic theology. Let me explain. For many people, the idea of going to confession before receiving Eucharist just makes sense. The Eucharist is a great gift, it's God's very self, and we want to make sure that we are worthy to receive it. Because we have sinned and turned away from him, it only makes sense that we wash ourselves clean so that we are ready to receive him. But upon further look, what we realize is that this approach turns the Eucharist into a prize for the perfect, something that only the worthy people can receive, rather than what it really is, a sacrifice of reconciliation. What we celebrate in the Eucharist is that Jesus died on the cross for our sake, that he gave up his body and blood, not for the perfect, not for those who were worthy, but precisely because we were not worthy. What is not talked about enough is the fact that the Eucharist actually takes away our sins. When we celebrate Mass, we start with the penitential rite, and many people think that this cleanses us so that we can receive the Eucharist, but in fact, all it does is declare our need for mercy. It is the actual body and blood that we receive as sinners that takes the sins away. It's because of this that we don't need to purify ourselves to receive Jesus. It is in receiving Jesus that we are purified. But maybe you don't believe me. Well, check out the Catechism 1393. Holy Communion separates us from sin. Now, there are two caveats to this. The first is that if your sin is grave, if you've committed adultery, if you've murdered someone, if you've done something with full knowledge and complete consent that severs your relationship from God, yes, you need to go to confession before receiving Eucharist, not because you're impure, but because you've ruptured that relationship and need to repair it. The second is that it is absolutely allowed and even encouraged to go to confession with only venial sins, because the sacrament does more than just take away sins. It offers us counsel and strength so we sin no more. The problem is if we have a compulsion that we have to go to confession before receiving Eucharist because we have to be pure. This simply isn't right.